Recently, I decided to emancipate myself from my family and purchase a house to dwell in solitude. I relocated to a rural area in Texas, where the houses are remarkably affordable. I've been working and saving since I was 15 years old, and now, at the age of 25, a graduate of the College of Commerce with a major in business administration, I've managed to secure a comfortable job with a very good salary. While acknowledging that my alma mater is modest and its future not particularly bright, thanks to my connections and a bit of networking, I was able to find rewarding employment with a handsome salary. My house is nestled between two others, one to my right and the other to my left. The neighbor to my right is a respectable individual, approximately 30 years old, whom I encountered only once initially and have not seen since. He is decent, as I mentioned, but not sociable, and frankly, the type I prefer among neighbors. As for the neighbor to my left, I was unaware of who resided there until a few days ago when I heard a knock on the door upon returning from work. Opening the door, I found a kind elderly woman standing with a plate of cookies, a gesture that genuinely delighted me. Remember when I mentioned that my preferred type of neighbor was one who offers sustenance? I've had a change of heart. My preferred type of neighbor is now one who extends culinary generosity. She smiled warmly as she introduced herself as Maria, and after exchanging pleasantries, she handed me the plate of cookies, to which I responded with a grateful smile and heartfelt thanks before she departed. I couldn't shake off an eerie feeling about her appearance. Her skin seemed unnatural, but perhaps that's simply due to her advanced age? I savored the entire plate of cookies, marveling at their delicious flavor, though I couldn't discern the recipe that produced such delectable treats. Nevertheless, they were the most delightful cookies I've ever tasted. After finishing my meal, I decided to rest for a while. The next morning, I woke up with intense stomach pain, a consequence of indulging in the entire large plate of cookies by myself. Despite their irresistible taste, I couldn't resist them, hence, I informed my workplace that I was unwell and unable to come in that day. As time passed, the pain worsened, even though I was mostly confined to my home, doing nothing strenuous. I opted to lie in bed and minimize movement in an attempt to alleviate the discomfort. Then, I heard another knock on the door. It was Maria once again, this time bearing a large apple pie. Although I attempted to maintain composure and assure her that I was fine, I couldn't bring myself to tell her that I was suffering from stomach pain due to her cookies. I accepted the pie graciously and thanked her, savoring the sweet aroma. I decided to have only a slice this time, but alas, the pie was irresistibly delicious, and I ended up eating a substantial portion. Regrettably, my stomach pains intensified. I struggled to move due to the excruciating pain, and around 3 o'clock, things took a turn for the worse. I began experiencing severe gas and collapsed to the ground, unable to control the release of gas. I drifted off to sleep where I lay. The next morning, I heard another knock on the door. Unable to move due to the intensity of the pain, I heard Maria's voice from behind the door, implying that my lack of appreciation for her cooking was the cause of my suffering. She then erupted into hysterical laughter, unnerving me further. After what seemed like an eternity, she managed to force the door open with a sharp object in her hand, a large kitchen knife. Approaching me with the knife in hand, she began to inflict wounds on my thigh, all the while murmuring with delight, "I exist solely for this purpose." She then proceeded to lick the blood off the blade in a terrifying manner, still laughing maniacally before eventually leaving. The pain was unbearable, compounded not only by my stomach, but also by the injury to my thigh. Struggling to reach my phone, I managed to call for help, informing them of my stabbing and excruciating pain. They arrived approximately 10 minutes later, but I was too exhausted and in agony to recall the subsequent details accurately. Upon regaining consciousness and being deemed fit to speak, I was interviewed by the police. The most terrifying thing I've ever heard in my entire life was their revelation. Maria, the kind elderly woman, had murdered 20 people and injured 29 others. Yet, that wasn't the most terrifying part. The truly horrifying realization was that her name wasn't Maria. It was Daniel. With your camera, Daniel. A 40-year-old serial killer kills them, skins them, makes costumes from them, and wears them to change his appearance. This is the reason why I clearly doubted its appearance when I saw it for the first time. And finally, something they told me. All the eaters I ate contained parts of Dan,